Welcome back to the Aro Benaiah Show, where we celebrate the journey of local entrepreneurs, trade people, and hands-on leaders shaping the world with their skills and resilience. Today, we are diving into the topic that affects every modern business: cybersecurity. With someone who has over 25 years of experience in IT and business growth. My guest today is Brett Gallant, founder of Adaptive Office Solution and a cybersecurity expert who help business stay safe in the ever-changing digital landscape. Beyond tech, Brand Stories is one of transformation. He's a business leader who shifted from being a hands-on operator to a visionary entrepreneur. Brett, welcome to the show.
Hey, it's such a pleasure to be here with you today. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. All right, Brett, what was it like growing up for you? What was those experiences of growing up?
Growing up, eh, quite honestly, when I look back at it now, I realize how hard it was. It was always of love. I grew up with in a family with two parents that divorced, and a mother that my amazing mother would do anything and everything to provide for us. And there were times I knew there were times that we had to make use of a food bank. I remember sometimes mm, having to go to the food bank to get food, and to some of mom's coworkers. My mother's a retired nurse. Some of her coworkers, I vividly remember some dropping off bread and food when mom was having a hard time. We always had love though, but I remember those hard times growing up. So
Wow, that was pretty tough. And I think the fact that there was law, why that was actually going on, serve as more like a cushion to every of this particular thing going on. Yeah, it's amazing. Yeah. So before funding adaptive office solution, what kind of job and experience shape your work ethic and mindset?
where I worked before, in my mindset, I have a really, and I think everybody's story is interesting, and mine has its journey. I worked for a construction fabrication company from 1996 to the advent of me forming Adaptive Office Solutions, and from that company, it set a lot of the foundation for how I operate Adaptive. That we treat our clients with respect and always do our best and provide the best of customer service that we can. But beyond that, just even going before that of getting first landing that job at the construction company, I was so close to going to a moving to Western Canada. When I found out that I was interviewed for this job, I said, "You need to let me know. You need to let me know if if you want me by Sunday. Otherwise, I'm moving to Western Canada." So Sunday, I got the call say, "Hey, we want you on our team." Thankfully, thankfully, I did get that call. It set the trajectory for my life. Like,
Wow, amazing.
Errol, we're getting a lot of feedback. Just
Okay. All right. I've actually more like pushing everything down. Yeah, amazing story.
Yep.
Yeah, thank you
Yep.
very much, Brett.
Yep.
So, how did you get started in the IT industry, and what inspired you to launch adaptive office solution?
So uh, I got. Uh, I always had this vision that I want to be an entrepreneur, and I worked for a construction company for 14 years. In the back of my mind, I always wanted to own my own successful IT company, and there was one company that I admired, and then finally, after thinking about it for a number of years, I said, it's time to go. But what's interesting about it, I'm a person that's been working on personal and professional development for a long time. And I had this opportunity where I was invited to participate in a Brian Tracy webinar for one of my clients. The real estate agent said, "Hey, would you like to stay and watch this?" And I did. And in that, this was in 2007. Brian had this part in his webinar say, "Hey, take 3 minutes and write down 10 of your goals." And I did that. I wrote down by April 1st, 2010, I will own my own successful IT company. 3 years before I started it. And I strongly believe in the power of goals, but that really set me on a unconscious direction to put things into motion to achieve that. So clients started coming to me, and finally by early of 2010, I was getting busier and busier doing something, and I had to make a choice: my day job or my part-time job. Because the part-time job was getting busier than the day job, but it was my passion, and I was holding on to a story. Hey, I'm doing this great job with helping business clients, but I've still got my day job, so I had to get rid of my story. So I gave up my story, a great company that I loved working with, great team, great organization, to embrace my future, and that was a leap of faith. So
Wow, amazing, amazing. Your story is very interesting. The fact that you were actually working in a construction company for 14 years, and owing to the particular training you went for, it just dawned on you that, yeah, you actually wrote your goal that you're going to kind of create your IT company. And the fact that with time, the synergy and your side job was actually giving a whole lot of demand, client reaching out, and you're able to kind of dive into that with time. So I actually want to ask, at this particular point where clients was reaching out for a whole or a couple of job, what actually make it took the leap of it? Because I know sometimes it's quite very demanding, leaving your day job and chasing more like your side job, despite the level of demand that was coming around. So at what point, so what actually more like take that leap of it? Because I know it's quite very risky doing that at that particular moment.
well, I should give a little bit more perspective to that. I was actually, um, everybody remembers, well, not everybody, but remembers this, but there was a recession in 2003. Okay. And I had a number of business clients at the time that I would do after hours, but I lost my job for that construction fabrication company I was reducing hours, and then I asked to be laid off because I was only getting 5 hours a week. So after 2 months, they brought me back and they said, "Hey, let's bring your business clients on." And they were part of what I was doing. Okay. So to put it in perspective, what I was doing, I was helping a successful construction fabrication company. They grew from 38 computers from that 2003 to 170. Okay.
Wow.
Okay. But meanwhile, when I came back after that recession, I was bringing my business clients. Guess what was growing at the same time? The business clients. So I was coming in, we hired a person to assist me. So I was managing that person. We hired somebody to come in 2008. And I was coming in the morning, working at 5 a.m. in the morning, 6 a.m. in the morning till about 8. And then I would go serve my business clients till about 5, and then work another 2 hours to take care of the things that my person couldn't do. So it all came to a realization in March when I had an opportunity for a new client, lovely client. I was so happy to help them. They said, "We need somebody to come in on a contract to help us." I said, "Well, this is it." I had to pick my story. And so I decided to form the company, and I had the difficult conversation to leave the company that I was working for. And one of the owners said, I can never keep a person from chasing their dreams and going after it. They wished me well. And the company I worked for was my client for 3 or 4 months till they found a replacement.
Wow.
So
Well,
like my goals helped me, but I had to take that courageous leap of faith to go after that. And so I started with just me working in my basement. And then within 3 months, I had to hire my first employee and get a location. So it was rapid growth and just realization, having the confidence in ourselves. And sometimes when we're chasing our dream, we forget to have the own belief and confidence in ourselves that we can do it. So
yeah, wow.
I'm a good
Amazing, amazing. I
investor for
think
that. Yeah.
yeah, amazing. I think the fact that your other company could actually more like be your first client after you left office it proved that your work ethic where you were there was, yeah, it was really, really a whole lot. The fact that when you left, they were still more like uh, they were still more like your clients. They were still more like part of those who actually keep you job,
Yeah.
despite you already doing things on your own. That was really amazing.
Yeah.
So when you began your entrepreneurship or journey, what were some of the biggest challenge you faced and how did you overcome them?
There's so many ways to answer that question. The first thing was, which was been a constant evolution for me over the last 12, 13 years, which I really started to overcome it. I used to think that if something done right needed to be done by me only.
Ooh,
Okay. And so originally, the first thing was to hire somebody to help me. So I did that. But as I grew and had more members of my team, I I didn't delegate effectively, uh, be, or and didn't train the team. So now I live by the model of train them, trust them, let them lead, and elevate the team to be successful and give clear definition of done. I like even up to 4 years ago and 3 years ago, I was still doing those early mornings and working
wow.
into our hours, burning myself at the candle at both ends. But I realized when you're a business owner, you shouldn't be growing a business that sucks the life out of you. I was running I was running a company that was running me. It was the wrong way around. Now, you understand? And now I'm running the company and I'm living a life. So,
Yeah,
th-
amazing,
and
amazing,
I learned the
amazing. I
power
think
of so many things, but like great bookkeeping assistance, hiring talent to support you around you. But yeah,
yeah, amazing. Because I know this is more like the biggest issue when it comes to entrepreneurship many times. Owing to how they started out, it's this problem of delegation is usually very common between most entrepreneurs, being that they trust their judgment and delegating it becoming something that is very more like a very big concern because they just have this idea of I could, it's got to be me alone that get to kind of figure it out better compared to how my which is normal at more like starting out. And the fact
yeah.
that you're able to work out a system that actually get to balance is really, really amazing. So a lot of small business, especially in the trade where I am, more like local entrepreneurs and trade persons, think they are too small to be hacked. What is the dangerous mindsets and what is the reality? Uh, Coupled with the job you have been handling lately.
Uh, you know, this one, that's a good question. If there's the biggest takeaway that I have with your audience today is this: you're not too small, and you may think it'll never happen to you. But I can tell you a story. I was on a vacation recently for 10 days with my family. That would never happen before the old version of me because I thought I'd had to do
Yeah.
employees had to do everything. But while I was away, I got a call from somebody I know well. It said their organization got hacked. They had an incident where they lost $400,000 stolen from them. Okay. Now, I don't know about you, but most of us don't have 10,000 or 20,000, let alone 400,000 businesses. Can you imagine what that did to that company? They never put cybersecurity front and center. They didn't before, but now they are, but they're paying the price. All that anxiety, losing the money, and not only to say, okay, they were in my email, they were in their email for at least a month, because that's how they did this. So what else did they know about my company? So you're not too small. I remember one Christmas, I came in, we were working, it was 2 days before Christmas, a small business owner came in, and the look on their face, it looked like they've seen a ghost. They lost over $10,000 because of cyber incident. And it was a small business that, most businesses are living from paycheck to paycheck. So they had a devastating. So it's not just the big companies; it's everybody. Like, hackers don't care how big you are or where you are. They don't care if you do good for the world. It doesn't matter.
So true. So true.
Okay. Yeah.
So what simple practical step can trade people or small business owners take today to improve their cybersecurity without spending efforts on, for those who are still actually looking forward to more, like, so what simple step can you actually advise?
So first of all, if you DM me, if you find me on Instagram or LinkedIn and DM me 15 ways, I'll send you a document that outlines that. Okay. I have a 2-sheet document, 15 ways. Okay. That will outline a few of the things I'm going to talk about. But let's talk about the simple ones. Everybody listening, I want you to answer this question to yourself silently. Am I reusing any passwords somewhere? Most of you are probably saying yes. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Do I have two-factor authentication? Unfortunately, a lot of you don't. Okay. Do I have a backup? Okay. And some of you are probably saying, yes, I do. Okay. But a backup without being tested regularly, testing the restores, is just a wish. It's just a dream. Do you know how many times I've come in and helped a business that thought they had a backup to find out nothing was backed up? They had it automated, or they said, oh, I'll back up every Friday manually. You need a backup in place that is automated, it's done regularly and tested. And if you're doing it locally, I like having ours stored securely in the cloud. If you're doing it locally, don't leave it in the office. I had a municipality that had a fire department burned down. Fire department. Okay. So 2-factor authentication on the email. Backups are key. Cybersecurity awareness training. And then there's other things. Password manager, so that you're not reusing those passwords like Fluffy123. Everybody's using passwords. So with a password manager, the nice thing about the password manager is it will help you identify what passwords you're using that not only are not secure, but it'll tell you, hey, you're reusing the same password multiple times. Just change that. And then the other thing is, no matter what anybody tells you, I could tell you, hey, and there's other things you can do, but I'm just giving the basics here. No one can prevent all cyber attacks. If I told you I could prevent every cyber attack, I would be not telling you the truth. You can put a lot of other layers, and we believe the multi-layered approach is the best. And I won't go into technical details right now, but no one can. So the biggest thing that I want to instill with all of your listeners is to have a plan. Who are you going to call, and what are you going to do if you have an attack? And the big key component of that is having a backup. Because if you have no backup, you're just living a dream of loss false promises. So
Yeah, amazing, amazing. Thank you for the two-step you just make reference of the backup and also the two-factor authentication and not reusing password after being used in a particular. Yeah, that is
one
amazing.
other thing to add to that, though, I want to say this because one lie that people believe, and I want everyone to know this. We used to think antivirus is what we need. Well, that's not the truth anymore. Okay, antivirus is not enough. There are other things that you need, which is briefly, really quick, endpoint detection response, and then a security operations center for the business people. These things can see further than what antivirus. I've seen a hack go by antivirus and just say, ha ha, and encrypt an entire server and an entire office. And all they had was antivirus. And they were down for a week. Okay. And and it took them a number of weeks to get back to operating fully. Because when you get a new computer, does it work perfect? No. There's always little things we got to tweak. I just wanted to make sure I shared that with your audience. So
Yeah, thank you so much, Brett. I think that's really helped. And after the show, I'm going to add the link to your website and that of your Instagram to the show notes so that they could reach out and being able to get a full blueprint of what they could do differently. So actually set guides what they do.
Yeah.
Yeah. So how does building our cyber security first mindset help business thrive, not just survive?
How does the cybersecurity first mindset help business survive?
Yeah.
I think that's the only way that we really need to be operating these days. I like sharing that. Hey, we're entrusted with taking care of so much information that's important, and I like to think of every business that I take care of that I'm responsible for over hundreds of employees. Okay. So it's my
Wow.
job to help my clients make sure that they're having a security first mindset, because if they get hacked, then not only are they going to lose profit, which is really important. Profit is important for a business, but then also the employees are going to lose their livelihood. And like in today's world, a lot of people are only 2 paychecks away from being homeless. So I take what we do so seriously. And so I really, really want your audience to understand, to have that plan and realize that security first is in everything you do. Like if you, like in some of us have third party, like people that help support us, or they may have a computer. What are the people that they may have a computer supporting you in the office? Is their computer secure, or are my vendors secure? You have to ask that questions to everybody. It's so important in today's world.
Yeah, wow, wow, amazing, amazing. Thanks for that. Thanks for giving us a lot of insight in respect of that. So you shift from more like an operator to a visionary. What triggers that change, and how did that transform your business? I just want to actually more like give us more clue to how you actually change from that of the operation mindset to that of visionary.
Visionary, well, I, it ties a lot into something I learned from scouting. Train them, trust them, let them lead. If you're doing everything, you don't have time to be the visionary. Okay.
Yeah.
And I like okay, when you go on an airplane, what's the first thing they tell you to do if there's an incident? They tell you to put your oxygen mask on first. Okay. So my own story of transformation, where I've really become even more of a visionary leader in the last 2 years, it ties into my story of releasing. I've lost 120 pounds. And,
Yeah.
and by doing that, by training, what I've learned from scouting, training them, trusting them, let them lead, I had the time to be the visionary leader, to have that time to think strategically. So when you're not doing and you're having the time to have the vision, you have that time to put the oxygen mask on, to have the oxygen to think. So I get out a lot of times in the middle of the day for an hour or two for a hike where I have that time to think, and then I can get back into the office and execute that vision with clarity so I can help and be not only a better leader for my team, but a better husband, a better father.
Yeah, thank you so much, Brett. I think the three key insights you actually release in respect of from a operator to being a visionary is very, very key, which is train them, trust them, and let them lead. I think it speaks volume to any small business who could actually more like put that into place. At the end of the day, you have time to think and revolutionize and actually work a whole lot of things in respect of their business.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. So, what common mistake do you see young business owner or trade people making when it comes to in this digital area?
What opportunities?
Yeah.
Uh,
What mistake do you the young
oh,
business owner? Yeah.
well, one of the mistakes a lot of times is that mindset. Uh, I don't want to spend that extra money to save money, so, hiring another person, which is oftentimes what that is holding you back from the next breakthrough. Because if you're doing everything yourself, you don't have the time to go after the bigger opportunities.
Yeah.
And one of the mistakes I used to make is I used to always think, okay, I need to hire full time. But in today's world, you can hire a part-time person or a person to do 10 hours a week, or find somebody like a virtual assistant. Like the biggest thing that any entrepreneur, the first hire that I believe is always should be an admin person to help you with all that paperwork. So a lot of times we're trying to do all the paperwork, all the admin stuff, but if you can get rid of that first rung on the ladder, it will give you more time to do the other tasks, and I like to think of the tasks that give you energy. But one of the
Yeah.
mistakes too that I made in early in my journey, on top of that, was trying to do bookkeeping and finance myself. That's
Wow.
one of the biggest mistakes I did. Find somebody great that can help you with your books, your accounting. And there's so many great people that are looking for that opportunity that can free you up and do it better than you, and really save you money in the long run, and maybe quite possibly, if I might argue, save your business.
Yeah. Amazing. Thank you very much for that. Yeah, it's very, very key. I think mindset is very, very key when it comes to business, especially in this digital era where a lot of things are actually changing and a whole lot of tools are coming into place. And the way business was being done is different compared to now. And you getting to know what and what to put in place is to actually upskill your business is very, very key. Especially if you're actually handling it all, it's make it so demanding that you can't reach out to the bigger clients, you can't do a better job. And yeah, there's going to be a whole lot of activities scattered around that you'll be burned out in respect of business, in respect of your relationship and that of your families, which actually is not actually very, very good. But do you actually more like make reference of there are a whole lot of people who have their virtual assistants without you necessarily being, if you don't have the necessary capacity to actually even employ them, contract bees actually even serve well in doing those particular things. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you so
Yeah.
much, Abraham. So so for someone who actually wants to learn from seasoned entrepreneur like you, what is the best way to seek mentorship and to seek guidance?
Uh, So, number one, if you don't have one, I would recommend a coach. Okay.
Yeah.
Having a coach that you can meet with weekly or bi-weekly, that can mentor you and challenge you on your thinking, a sparring partner, that's the biggest. I'm a big proponent of coaching. Second, we're human beings. We're meant to be in relationships with each other, help each other. Get to network events, get to a business event, or reach out to people on LinkedIn and say, hey, I have in my heart that I want to start uh, a car dealership or this small business, and find 3 or 4 people or more on LinkedIn or Instagram and connect with them. Hey, I'm new. I'm just getting started. What are 3 things you think I should do or think about? And maybe take them out for coffee. Have a conversation. I genuinely believe most entrepreneurs want to help each other. I will
Yeah.
always believe that. I've had so many people that I've met with over the years. I've sat and had coffee with one gentleman one time for an hour at his place, and he gave me that whole mindset of not always instinctively reacting to hiring somebody full time. He said to me one time, Brett, you could find a really good admin person that may not want to work full time because maybe it's a mom that just wants to work from 9 to 2:30 so they can be home to put their kids on the bus and pick them up. And you could have the best person. So always have those conversations and coaching.
Yeah. Amazing, amazing. So I think the point you actually gave is very insightful. Is the fact that those who are in similar trades, who are in those particular spaces, being that owing to how they actually come up, they are willing to actually more like sometimes give a happy hands to entrepreneur who can reach out, make reference of the fact that they're just starting out. Yeah, I think it all boils down to why you actually coin the message. Because at the end of the day, if you speak volume to you really want to learn, not just waste their time, not to ask for not to ask for something, yeah, but just for advice and what their thought on it. I think most of them will be willing to actually give you helping hands. And your point really speak volume to that.
Yeah, and I believe, building your connections with people, um, if you're on LinkedIn and Instagram, reach out and have a conversation. And it might be some business people you know of, and you might be out for a walk. Like what I often do, if I see something of interest that I know they're interested in, I say, hey, Peter, I saw this. I was thinking about you. You might be interested in this. Or what I like to do sometimes is send a message. Hey, Jim, I really appreciate that conversation we had last week. You really, really meant a lot for me to share what you said. I really appreciate you sending messages like that within your network. Uh, I strongly believe will help anybody, and the world needs more of that. So
Yeah, yeah. That's so true. The world actually needs the whole lot of them. So looking at the future, where do you see the biggest opportunity for trade people and small business who are ready to adapt to the various steps you are giving in respect of cybersecurity, the mentorship, and the growth mindset in respect of delegating and everything related to growing their business?
well, what we've been leveraging quite a bit and big time. uh, uh, I should have brought this up earlier, but the biggest opportunity is AI. And if anybody wants to have a discussion with me about that, DM me AI, and we'll talk about cyber. But the opportunity with AI is to recognize this. There's a lot of people are afraid of using AI. Wouldn't you agree? There are some people
Yeah, yeah.
not.
So true, so
Yeah.
true. Yes.
So I look at AI as this. I use it every day for almost everything I do as an extension of my brain, and I think of it as my partner. And so the small business owner and professionals need to be thinking this. A lot of people are, rightfully so. There are people that are worried about AI is going to replace my job. Okay, but I want to reframe that for a second. A person using AI is going to replace your job if you're not using AI.
Yeah, so true.
So learn AI, because we're going through a tremendous opportunity right now. But most importantly, which people often neglect to say, use AI securely.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that is another point too that every entrepreneur should be aware of because most of the data you actually release to AI, it's something you can take back once it's been released.
Yeah. Well, but there's so many people that are using these agents that don't remember we talked about cyber when I talked about the
Yeah,
importance of two-factor authentication. There are
yeah,
so many people using AI and they don't have the two-factor authentication on.
no.
So enable the 2FA on your AI, folks, please. So yeah,
Yeah, thank you. So after all you have achieved professionally and personally, what does success mean to you?
success means having the time to spend for myself. Like I went to the gym this morning, didn't feel guilty, and went for a hike. Spending time with my family, you know, getting to hug my children, having my daughter call me and say, "Dad, I love you," uh, and being able to give back to my community, but having that time, not having the business run me, but me running the business is success.
Wow, amazing. That's really, really lovely.
Yeah.
All right. So, what is one piece of advice you would give to someone listening right now who is struggling to grow and or facing self doubts?
The grow their okay. Recognize this. This is truth. You A lot of times we let fear be driving our thoughts and our decisions. And I want you to think about that fear like an automobile, a car. We put fear in the driver's seat. Okay. So what we got to do is recognize that we put the fear in the passenger seat and recognize how much potential you have because we live in the greatest time where we have the internet, AI, all the tools are there for us to be successful. So don't let fear be driving in the driver's seat. Take that chance, that leap of faith, and believe in yourself. I'm a person is a great example that had so many limiting beliefs. And every time what I thought to be true about I said, "Oh, that can't be done," has been a lie. So believe in yourself, train them, trust them, let them lead, and use the tools in your network. I can't hear you.
Can you hear me?
There. Yeah, I can now. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, sorry, sorry. All right. Thank you so much for leaving us all with that insightful advice. So, tell us about yourself for my audience who actually want to reach out to you, want to do business with you. How could they actually more like reach out and what platform could they reach out to you and do business with you and reach
It's
out?
Instagram and LinkedIn. Just DM me, have a conversation. Uh, I'd be happy to connect with you all. So
Oh, all right. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Eldra. So I'll just quickly read out the outro and then is there any more like a final words or wisdom you want to leave my audience with, if there is any, before we actually more like call the business, before we're done with the call?
yeah, I'll say one thing.
Okay.
I am a person who thought I couldn't do certain things, and I would question myself and say that's not possible. But every time I actually decided and come to that point where I make what I'll call a decision day, when you ultimately decide what you want to do and you go after it with belief, and even sometimes we don't believe it fully, but execution, take that chance. Pick up the phone. There are so many people that don't take action to pick up the phone, to have the conversation, to reach out, or to even take a chance because they're fearful of trying something they want to do. So I want to encourage you to live by the example I shared by taking that leap of faith, by making the phone call, making that chance of going after that dream. You have it in you. Each and every single one of us does. And all we have to do is decide and believe in ourselves.
Oh, thank you so much. This is really profound. This is more like a bigger blessing at the end of the show. Thank you so much. So, Brett, thank you for sharing your stories, insights, and practical advice with us today. Well, Shana, it's essential. You can connect with Brett and learn more about his work on every detail that will be left on the show notes. Remember, growth is a journey, and every step you take towards protecting your business and improving yourself counts. Until next time, keep building, keep growing, and keep leading with resilience. This is the Aro Benaiah Show. Thank you.